Peace and blessings. Welcome back to Monday Message. It is wonderful to be with you. Thank you for tuning in and clicking on this link so that you could watch this video with me. I greatly appreciate it, and it's really an honor to be of service with you on your journey. So let's dive into our quote today. If you're new to Monday Message, it's basically a video a week that I send out, and it's got a quote that I unpack and share my perspective, my insights, and how it's pertained to my life, how it's helped my life, how it's really impacted the way that I approach my life. So let's dive into our quote today, and we'll unpack this one, and I'll give you a few takeaways and a few calls to action with the wisdom that we're going to unpack today. This quote is by Aubrey Marcus, and it says, I'm going to read it because I don't want to mess it up. To wait for the external world to change before you alleviate your stress is a fool's errand. I'll say it again. To wait for the external world to change before you alleviate your stress is a fool's errand. Like, a lot of us are just waiting for things to get better in our life. When I get that better job, I'll start working out. When I find that partner, I'll take better care of myself. Or when I finally make that much money, I'll stop being stressed out about my bills. We're waiting for the external world to shift and change so that we don't have to go through the hard work of engaging in the practices that alleviate the stress that comes with the challenges of life. I thought that this quote was really profound because a lot of us are just kind of waiting for things to be lined up right or things to be perfect before we do that thing or before we give up that thing. And that's just a fool's errand. You need to just take care of you. You can't wait for things outside of you to change. You can communicate, you can make requests, you can have conversations, you can, speak your truth. But if you're going to wait for the external world around you to change before you alleviate your stress, here's a good example. Those of us that are moms or parents, we do this a lot. We're waiting for a window of time to open up so that we can go do something for ourselves. We wait for the day that we have energy and time to go to yoga, right? We're waiting, and we can't just, we can't wait. You can't wait for the time to open up. You have to make the time. Because if you wait for the time to open up and you wait for everything to come together where you have the babysitter and you have the time and you have the energy and you have the money, it's most likely not going to happen. It's a fool's errand. It's not going to happen. You have to make the time. You have to make it. You got to carve it out, right? A lot of us are just sort of really victim to our circumstances, and we're waiting for those circumstances to change before we feel better, do better, be better. So you can either be the victim of your circumstances or you can be the victor of your circumstances. You see, we're never stuck. And often, that's what causes a lot of the stress in these circumstances where we're just sort of waiting for that person to change, or we wait for the job to change, or we wait for the relationship to change, or we wait for our children to change, or we wait for our friends to change, or we wait for the world to get it together and change. That is an unreliable thing that you are expecting to have happen. It's unreliable. You cannot control the things that exist outside of you. So if you're waiting for the things outside of you to change, for you to address your stress and to alleviate your stress, you're going to spend your whole life waiting. You have to make the time. I know I hear this a lot, and I am guilty of this as well. It's I don't have a window of time open. I'm just too busy. You got to make the time, especially when it comes to alleviating your stress. Sometimes alleviating your stress means you just get yourself to a yoga class. Sometimes alleviating your stress means that you spend time planning out your week so that you're not stressed out about how you're going to get everything done. So we're waiting for others who may have some say over our work week to communicate and dictate to us, to figure out, how we're going to schedule our week, what's going to happen. But you got to take charge and you got to schedule your week. You have to do it. Like, the solution is within you. It is not outside of you. The world is not going to stop and slow down so you can get your shit together. You have to stop and slow down to get your shit together. Or you need to like step it up and get into high gear to get your shit together. But you cannot wait for these external circumstances to change in order for you to alleviate the stress in your life. You have to make the time. You can't wait for it to just happen. You have to make that. Often when life gets stressful, we feel stuck and we feel like there's no way out. And something that I've been saying to myself ever since I was, I think, in my early 20s, I don't know where I picked it up, but I'm always telling myself and reminding my friends and my students, you're never stuck. There's always a way out. You may not like the way out. You may not like the escape route that is presented to you or the path to overcoming that thing. Like, you may not like your options, but you always have options. There is always a way out. And the times that we feel stuck and we feel like we're just backed into a corner is really, it doesn't mean that we don't have options and that we're actually stuck. What it often means is that we don't like the options in front of us and we don't want to move on them, and so then we feel stuck. And so you can't, sometimes you gotta just like, you gotta be inconvenienced and like take that path. The path that's available to you, the one that you don't like, sometimes you gotta take that path because it's the way out. And if you're waiting for other things to change so that you don't have to take that path, like, that's a fool's errand, is basically what this quote is saying. Right? I really want to speak to those of us who are feeling stuck and feeling like we're just, like, we don't know how to get out of the situation that we're in. I want you to know that there is a way out. And if you can't see a way out, it's just because you don't like the ways out that are being presented in front of you, and you're waiting to see the one that resonates the most with you. And you got to stop waiting for that. You got to, like, if you want change, right? You can't wait for everything outside of you to line up perfectly to present yourself with a great opportunity to come out of it. You need to just find it within you to journey down whatever avenue is available to you that gets you on the other side of that thing. Otherwise, it's just a fool's errand. You're disillusioning yourself. You're just sitting there waiting for magic to happen. And, unfortunately, transformation and change in our life doesn't often happen through magic. It happens through hustle and grit and honest self-reflection and a willingness to endure. I hate to break it to you, and I don't mean to be like a pessimistic or super negative about it. It can still be a beautiful process. It can be magical. It can be amazing. It can be eye-opening and revelatory in all the beautiful romantic ways that we imagine it. But I guarantee you it's still always going to require hustle, grit, willingness, and endurance. And so, just take some time to reflect on your circumstances and your external environment and whatever it is that's agitating you, stressing you out, and where are you waiting for other things to change to alleviate that stress? And then go even further and ask yourself, what can you do? You, with yourself, with that, something that doesn't involve an other person. What can you do for you to begin to alleviate your stress? Because you can't change what's around you. And again, if you feel like there are no options, I guarantee you there are options. You just don't like them, so you don't want to look at them. So look at them. And, if you're really, really stuck, I'll just share with you a method I learned recently called 50 Ways. So if you're feeling really stuck and you need a solution, sit down and get a piece of paper out and write number 1 all the way through 50. And you'll write down all your ideas. And the first ideas are the most simple, often most practical ideas, the easiest ones, the ones that don't make us uncomfortable. But keep going. I want you to write as many as you can, get as close to 50 as you can, and usually it's around after 35 or 40 that we get these really creative ideas of how to do things, how to navigate through situations that we're feeling challenged. Whether it's coming up with money to go to that retreat that you want, or, that's a good one. a lot of us, especially as moms, we're waiting to like go on that retreat or to go take that workshop or to go back to school or pick up that skill again. We're waiting for like the kids to grow up, or we're waiting for the time to be there, or waiting for when we have the energy for it. And you like, don't wait. Don't wait for the external world to line up so that you can alleviate your stress. It's of utmost importance. You are a better mother, you are a better friend, you are a better lover, you are a better entrepreneur, you're going to be a better employee, you're going to be a better friend, you're going to be a better creative when you do the things that you need to do to alleviate your stress. You have to do it. It's got to be important for you, and it's got to be like a non-negotiable thing. It's not just like a luxury. This is a non-negotiable necessity that you have to show up to, even if you don't feel like it, so that you can alleviate that stress and really begin to show up as that clear-minded, grounded, heart-centered, purpose-driven individual. It's hard to be that. It's hard to be clear-minded. It's hard to be grounded. It's hard to be heart-centered and purpose-driven when you're stressed the heck out all the time. And life is stressful. There's no like magic trick for getting rid of the stressful things in life. That's always going to be there. And we're distracting ourselves with trying to find that solution when really we need to be cultivating the skills and the practices and the disciplines that help us alleviate and tend to the effects that the stress has on us. We have to alleviate the stress and attend to the symptoms from the stress that we accumulate in our bodies and our minds and in our hearts. So first of all, figure out what you need in order to alleviate the stress. And then instead of waiting for circumstances around you to be lined up perfectly so you can go do that thing, you are going to plan that thing into your week and work everything else around it. It has to become a priority. Making time for a hot bath, making time to catch a sunset, making time to go out dancing, or just making time to turn music on and dance in your living room, making time to spend some quality moments with your really close friends, making time for your partner or your family, or maybe you need to make time to write that business plan. Maybe you need to make time to organize your day and your week so that you're not stressed out about the overwhelm of what you have to do. Maybe you make the time to go to that yoga class or go get the massage or go on a vacation, right? This is a big one that a lot of people do is they wait for life to open up a window of time and money so they can go on that dream vacation. And I say, if you don't take a vacation, life will give you a staycation. Instead of going out and doing something awesome with your money, you'll end up like getting really sick and having to stay home with the flu and not being able to go to work, and then you got to use that extra money to cover your bills, and you use your vacation time to just, because you didn't make the time, life created a circumstance for you to have that time. And so if you don't make time to alleviate your stress, well, life will create the circumstances that forces you to alleviate your stress, and that's not the route that you want to go, because life can be a good kick in the ass. I don't mean like it feels good, like life is good at kicking us in the ass. So make some time for yourself. Figure out what you need to do to alleviate your stress, and then figure out when you're going to plan it in your day or your week. And start simple. Don't overdo it. Don't do like all of a sudden you're going to do 10 new things. Start with 1 or 2 things. If it's going to be weekly, 1 thing. If it's going to be like a monthly thing, maybe 2 things. Maybe it's like yoga 2 or 3 times a week and a massage once a month, or acupuncture, or whatever, right? You spend more time with your friends. Like for me, I created a book club with my closest friends, just because like we are all really busy entrepreneurs, and to get our time together is really hard just to like hang out. So I had to make it like something that had an intention and a purpose. So I was like, let's start a book club. And so we've been meeting once a month to discuss this book that we're reading, which supports our growth and our well-being and our development, but also we get to just spend time together and nurture each other and nourish each other through friendship and loving association. But I had to make that happen. I had to like really put that intention out there and communicate it and suggest it until it was like, okay, we're putting it on the calendar. And that's something that I look forward to that really alleviates my stress. but we really had to like make the time for it. If we allowed our outer circumstances to dictate when that would happen, it wouldn't have happened. So please take initiative in your life. You deserve to achieve the type of life where you are managing your stress. You deserve that. You are worth the effort that it may require for you to begin this process. Don't give up. You're worth the effort. You're worth the time. You're worth the energy. You're worth taking a stand for and saying, I'm sorry, I have to not take on so many meetings because I really need to go to this yoga class. Or I'm sorry, I can't cook dinner for the kids tonight, so I ordered pizza. I'm going to my yoga class. Or whatever it is that you're going to do. Make time. Don't wait to find the time because you'll never find it. Okay? Please don't be a fool and expect the world around you to change for you to alleviate your stress. And I know for some of us, that may mean making a really, really, really big decision to shift our lives and to take toxic things out of our life so that we don't have so much stress. And I know how difficult that can be, but remember that your well-being, it should be of utmost importance to you. You can only serve and love and give to the extent that you have really served and loved and give to yourself. You can get away with it for a while, like not tending to the self and being a giver and a leader and serving the community, but eventually your fuel tank is going to get empty and you have to give to yourself. If you're a parent, if you're a spouse, if you are a partner, if you are a business owner, if you are a leader in your community or in your family, I'm talking to you here. You got to fill that cup. It doesn't get filled up by itself and it will run out. So if you want to have longevity and you want to have, if you want the thing that you're doing to be sustainable, you got to make time for you to do those things that alleviate your stress. So I hope that you take some time to ponder this, and maybe you don't get to it this week. Maybe you just ponder it and you prepare for next week, but maybe you try to do something this week. Take some action here. You're never stuck. There's always a way out. You are in charge of your happiness and your well-being, nobody else. Stop waiting for the outer world to change so that you can feel better. You gotta look within, figure out what you need, and take the action so that you feel better. You got this, my friend. I know you can do it. I hope that you found a lot of insight from this video and that it served you. If you like this video, please drop me a like down below, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. And if you feel like there is a friend or family member out there who could benefit from hearing this message, please, please, please just share this link with them and invite them to have a watch. All right, so I will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in, clicking on this video, and taking time to sit down with me. It's been a pleasure. I will see you next Monday. Remember to keep your head up high and your heart open wide so that you can live that life that you know you deserve to live. Namaste.